truth is the truth. Period. See what we're gonna do here. We're gonna be all day on this mission, or we're gonna get it done one and one
The more you
and keep
begin
it
to
going.
investigate what we think we understand, where we came from, what we think we're doing, the more you begin to see we've been lied to. We've been lied to by every institution. What makes you think for 1 minute that the religious institution is the only one that's never been touched? The religious institutions of this world are at the bottom of the dirt. The religious institutions in this world are put there by the same people who gave you your government, your corrupt education, who set up your international banking cartels. We have been misled away from the true and divine presence in the universe that men have called God. I don't know what God is, but I know what he isn't. And unless and until you are prepared to look at the whole truth, wherever it may go, whoever it may lead to, the more you educate yourself, the more you understand where things come from, the more obvious things become, and you begin to see lies everywhere. You have to know the truth and seek the truth, and the truth will set you free.
You heard that, huh? You gotta know the truth when seeking the truth, and the truth will set you free. That is the reason why I have on here the truth is the truth. Period. No bullshit. Cause bad enough. The truth is the truth. Slippery. So lies can't hold on. Come on, man. I got the Takuma, man. Shit. Let's get this mission over with. Come over here, one of y'all. The saddest one. Come over here. Dumbass.
Because I gotta tell you the truth, folks. I gotta tell you the truth. When it comes to bullshit, big time, major league bullshit, you have to stand in awe of the false promises and exaggerated claims, religion. Think about it.
Okay, we got two teams. Split up and hit your objectives. I'm setting up a healthy atmosphere of competitiveness. Use that. Station team, you're going for the Bolingbroke transit schedule. You got the right uniforms, but they'll be no good to you if you turn up on foot or in civilian transportation. Get a hold of a cop car using any means necessary. Then you can go to the station, and I shouldn't need to say this. Don't get yourselves killed.
But he loves you.
You got a car? Okay, make sure no one's following you. You can't turn up at the station while you're wanted by the police. Unless you're turning yourself in, that is. Lose the cops.
As far back as 10,000 BC, history is abundant with carvings and writings reflecting people's respect and adoration for this object.
And it is simple to understand why, as every morning the sun will rise, bringing vision, warmth, and security, saving man from the cold, blind, full darkness and night. Without it, the cult is understood. The crops would not grow, and life on the planet would not survive.
On the way in, you want to
These
problem with the
realities may be
cops
found
unless you
in the
act
most
stupid.
destroyed
On the way out with
object
the
of life
document?
forms.
I don't know. I would do this quickly if I were you, just in case someone
Likewise,
adds
they
to
were
it
also
too and
very
makes you.
aware of the stars. The tracking of the stars allowed them to recognize and anticipate events which occurred over long periods of time, such as eclipses and full moons. They in turn cataloged celestial groups into what we know today as constellations. This is the cross of the zodiac, one of the oldest conceptual images in human history. It reflects the sun as it figuratively passes through the 12 major constellations over the course of the year. It also reflects the 12 months of the year, the 4 seasons, and the solstices and equinoxes. The term zodiac relates to the fact that constellations were anthropomorphized, or personified, as figures or animals. In other words, the early civilizations did not just follow the sun and stars, they personified them with elaborate myths involving their movements and relationships. The sun, with its life-giving and saving qualities, was personified as a representative of the unseen creator or God, God's Son, the light of the world, the savior of humankind. Likewise, the 12 constellations represented places of travel for God's Son, and were identified by names, usually representing elements of nature that happened during that period of time. For example, Aquarius, the water bearer, who brings the spring rains. This is Horus. He is the sun god of Egypt of around 3000 BC. He is the sun, anthropomorphized, and his life is a series of allegorical myths involving the sun's movement in the sky. In the ancient hieroglyphics of Egypt, we know much about the solar Messiah. For instance, Horus, being the sun
Okay,
or the
one more
light,
thing.
had
I'm
an
gonna need you to
enemy
torch the
named
cop
Set.
car to stop this
And
coming
Set
back at
was
us. There are some
personification
gas
of the
cans under the
darkness
Olympic
and night.
Freeway in Marietta Heights that'll do
And,
the job.
metaphorically speaking, every morning Horus would win the battle against Set, while in the evening Set would conquer Horus and send him into the underworld. It is important to note that dark versus light, or good versus evil, is one of the most ubiquitous mythological dualities ever known, and is still expressed on many levels to this day. Broadly speaking, the story of Horus is as follows. Horus was born on December 25th of the Virgin Isis Mary. His birth was accompanied by a star in the east, and upon his birth he was adored by 3 kings. At the age of 12, he was a prodigal child teacher, and at the age of 30, he was baptized by a figure known as Anup, and thus began his ministry. Horus had 12 disciples he traveled about with, performing miracles such as healing the sick and walking on water. Horus was known by many gestural names such as the Truth, the Light, God's Anointed Son, the Good Shepherd, the Lamb of God, and many others. After being betrayed by Typhon, Horus was crucified, buried for 3 days, and thus resurrected. These attributes of Horus, whether original or not, seem to permeate many cultures of the world, for many other gods are found to have the same general mythological structure. Attis of Phrygia, born of the Virgin Nana on December 25th, crucified, placed in a tomb, and after 3 days was resurrected. Krishna of India, born of the Virgin Devaki, with a star in the east signaling his coming. He performed miracles with his disciples, and, upon his death, was resurrected. Dionysus of Greece, born of a virgin on December 25th, was a traveling teacher who performed miracles such as turning water into wine. He was referred to as the King of Kings, God's only begotten Son, the Alpha and Omega, and many others. And, upon his death, he was resurrected. Mithra of Persia, born of a virgin on December 25th. He had 12 disciples and performed miracles, and upon his death was buried for 3 days and thus resurrected. He was also referred to as the Truth, the Light, and many others. Interestingly, the sacred day of worship with Mithra is Sunday. The fact of the matter is, there are numerous saviors from different periods from all over the world which subscribe to these general characteristics. The question remains, why these attributes? Why the virgin birth on December 25th? Why dead for 3 days in the middle of the resurrection? Why 12 disciples or followers? To find out, let's examine the most recent of the solar messiahs. Jesus Christ was born of the Virgin Mary on December 25th in Bethlehem. His birth was announced by a star in the east, which three kings or magi followed to locate and adorn the new Savior. He was a child teacher at 12. At the age of 30, he was baptized by John the Baptist, and thus began his ministry. Jesus had 12 disciples, which he traveled about with, performing miracles, healing the sick, walking on water, raising the dead. He was also known as the King of Kings, the Son of God, the Light of the World, the Alpha and Omega, the Lamb of God, and many, many others. After being betrayed by his disciple Judas and sold for 30 pieces of silver, he was crucified, placed in the tomb, and after 3 days was resurrected and ascended into heaven. First of all, the birth sequence is completely astrological. The star in the east is Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, which, on December 24th, aligns with the three brightest stars in Orion's belt. These three bright stars in Orion's belt are called today what they were called in ancient times the Three Kings. And the Three Kings and the brightest star, Sirius, all point to the place of the sunrise on December 25th. This is why the Three Kings follow the star in the east, in order to locate the sunrise, the birth of the sun.
I'm hoping y'all getting this. The truth is,
The Virgin Mary is the constellation Virgo, also known as Virgo. The Virgo in Latin means virgin. Virgo is also referred to as the house of bread, and the representation of Virgo is a virgin holding a sheaf of wheat. This house of bread and its symbol of wheat represents August and September, the time of harvest. In turn, Bethlehem, in fact, literally translates to house of bread. Bethlehem is thus a reference to the constellation Virgo, a place in the sky, not on Earth. There's another very interesting phenomenon that occurs around December 25th, or the winter solstice. From the summer solstice to the winter solstice, the days become shorter and colder. And from the perspective of the northern hemisphere, the sun appears to move south and get smaller and more scarce. The shortening of the days and the expiration of the crops when approaching the winter solstice symbolize the process of death to the ancients. It was the death of the sun. And by December 22nd, the sun's demise was fully realized. For the sun, having moved south continually for 6 months, makes it to its lowest point in the sky. Here a curious thing occurs. The sun stops moving south, at least perceivably, for 3 days. And during this 3-day pause, the sun resides in the vicinity of the southern Crux constellation. And after this time, on December 25th, the sun moves 1 degree, this time north, foreshadowing longer days, warmth, and spring. And thus it was said, the sun died on the cross, was dead for 3 days, only to be resurrected or born again. This is why Jesus and numerous other sun gods share the crucifixion, 3-day death, and resurrection concept. It is the sun's transition period before it shifts its direction back into the northern hemisphere, bringing spring and thus salvation. However, they do not celebrate the resurrection of the sun until the spring equinox, or Easter. This is because at the spring equinox, the sun officially overpowers the evil darkness.
all the references, the European changed everything into, they make it where you see everything the way that they want to see it, the way that it was written, when really the creativity, which is the creator, which is the divine light, which is the sun, and only one that shines bright in the sky,
In fact,
is
number 12
life
is replete throughout.
for all.
Coming back to the cross of the zodiac, the figurative light of the sun, this was not just an artistic expression of a tool to track the sun's movement. It was also a pagan spiritual symbol, the shorthand device.
Because he wasn't Jamie.
This is not a symbol of Christianity. It is a pagan adaptation of the cross of the zodiac. This is why Jesus in early occult art is only shown with his head on the cross, for Jesus is the Son of God, the light of the world, the risen Savior, who will come again, as it does every morning, the glory of God, who defends against the works of darkness, as he is born again every morning, and can be seen coming in the clouds, up in heaven, with his crown of thorns or sunbeams. Now, of the many astronomical metaphors in the Bible, one of the most important has to do with the ages. Throughout the scriptures, there are numerous references to the age. In order to understand this, we need to be familiar with the phenomenon known as the precession of the equinoxes. The ancient Egyptians and other cultures long before them recognized that approximately every 2150 years, the sunrise and the morning of the spring equinox would occur in a different sign of the zodiac.
Or they have to
This
use.
has to do with a slow, angular wobble that the Earth maintains when it rotates on its axis. It is called a precession because the constellations go backwards rather than through the normal yearly cycle. The amount of time it takes for the precession to go through all 12 signs is roughly 25,765 years. This is what is called the Great Year. And ancient societies is very analogous, and they refer to each 2150-year period as an age. From 4300 BC to 2150 BC, it was the age of Taurus, the bull. From 2150 BC to 1 AD, it was the age of Aries, the ram. And from 1 AD to 2150 AD, it is the age of Pisces, the age we are still in to this day. And in and around 2150, we will enter the new age, the age of Aquarius. Now, the Bible reflects, broadly speaking, a symbolic movement through 3 ages while foreshadowing a 4th. In the Old Testament, when Moses comes down Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments, he is very upset to see his people worshiping a golden bull calf. In fact, he shattered the stone tablets and instructed his people Mithra, a pre-Christian god who kills the bull, in the same symbology. Now Jesus is the figure who ushers in the age following Aries, the age of Pisces, or the 2 fish. Fish symbolism is very abundant in the New Testament. Jesus feeds 5,000 people with bread and 2 fish. When he begins his ministry walking along Galilee, he befriends 2 fishermen who follow him. And I think we have all seen the Jesus fish on the back of people's cars. Little do they know what it actually means. It is a pagan astrological symbolism for the sun's kingdom during the age of Pisces. Also, Jesus' birth date is essentially the start of this age. At Luke 22:10, when Jesus is asked by his disciples where the last Passover would be, Jesus replies, "Behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in." This scripture is by far one of the most revealing of all the astrological references. The man bearing the pitcher of water is Aquarius, the water bearer, who is always pictured as a man pouring out a pitcher of water. He represents the age after Pisces, and when the Son, God's Son, leaves the age of Pisces, Jesus, he will go into the house of Aquarius, as Aquarius follows Pisces in the precession of the equinoxes. All Jesus is saying is that after the age of Pisces will come the age of Aquarius.
The age of awareness. The age of awareness. Ooh, that one just came to me. The age of awareness. Aquarius. The age of awareness. I thank you for that one, creativity.
Jesus says, I will be with you even to the end of the world.
Yeah.
However, in the King James Version, world is a mistranslation, among many mistranslations. The actual word being used is eon, which means age. I will be with you even to the end of the age, which is true, as Jesus' solar Piscean personification will end when the sun enters the age of Aquarius. The entire concept of end times and the end of the world is a misinterpreted astrological allegory. Let's tell that to the approximately 100 million people in America who believe the end of the world is coming. Furthermore, the character of Jesus being a literary and astrological hybrid is most explicitly a plagiarization of the Egyptian sun god Horus. For example, inscribed about 3,500 years ago on the walls at the Temple of Luxor in Egypt are images of the Annunciation, the miracle conception, the birth, and the adoration of Horus. The images begin with Thoth announcing to the Virgin Isis that she will conceive Horus, then Neth, the Holy Ghost, impregnating the Virgin, and then the virgin birth and the adoration. This is exactly the story of Jesus' miracle conception. In fact, the literary similarities between the Egyptian religion and the Christian religion are staggering. Plagiarism is continuous. The story of Noah and Noah's Ark is taken directly from tradition. The concept of the Great Flood is ubiquitous throughout the ancient world, with over 200 cited claims in different periods and times. However, one needs
Hello. Hello.
Hi, Mr. Mantic with Mr. Nelson, please.
This is him.
Hi, this is Claudia, the PA, Dr. DeCack's office.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I'm just following up with you.
Oh, yeah. After I called way Friday, I was having that problem with that medication that I took that you guys told me to take.
Uh-huh.
And like I said again, I was leery about taking that medication. And I told my doctor that I was leery about taking the medication, all because this medication side effects was more than what it was helping. But doctor told me that not to worry about none of that there. And I just took half of the medication, and my provider could tell you exactly what that medication did to me, sweetheart.
Okay, yeah, you did call us and we told you to not take it.
Uh-huh. But I've been saying.
So your primary care doctor told you to go ahead and take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I said again, I never take the medication again, and I'm gonna be seeing her sometime this week. But yeah, that like I said, that medication there is not for me. And then I do have that card where y'all did have that date. Someone else said it was wrong, but my card said that day I was there, and you guys were saying that that wasn't the date that I was supposed to be seen. You remember what I'm talking about?
I do not know, no.
Okay. Remember, is this the lady at the gas optometrist place, right?
Yes, I'm the physician assistant. I don't handle the administrative
Okay. Because I came there on my day that's on my card, but on the 25th, my provider right there, he just said on the 25th, and they made me seem like I was going crazy when I'm telling them that they had on my card the 25th. They told me, no, Mr. Knopf, you're making a mistake. That wasn't on your card. That date was changed. I said, well, if that date was changed, why didn't the one change it on that card or change it or call me up and change it? But they kept on saying that I was the one mistaken.
Okay, yeah, well, there's a confusion there. I apologize. But we still, you were still seen, correct?
Right. No, I wasn't still seen. I was sent home.
Okay. Well, regarding the Movantik, if it's causing you to have additional symptoms, and just go ahead and discontinue it. If you don't feel comfortable taking it as you were instructed before, I'm not quite sure why your other doctor told you you should go ahead and take it. But yeah, so I'm telling you right now to just stop it. And just continue with the magnesium citrate, though, if you haven't done so.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye. Phone call way from Thursday. But I say again, bottom line is, what bottom line is to them, making that money, man. At least they call back. Shit.
For a pre-Christian source, from the Epic of Gilgamesh, written in 2600 BC. This story talks of a great flood commanded by God, an ark with saved animals upon it, and even the release and return of a dove, all held in common with the biblical story, among many other similarities. And then there is the plagiarized story of Moses. Upon Moses' birth, it is said that he was placed in a reed basket and set adrift in a river in order to avoid infanticide. He was later rescued by a daughter of royalty and raised by her as a prince. This baby in a basket story was lifted directly from the myth of Sargon of Akkad of around 2250 BC. Sargon was placed in a reed basket in order to avoid infanticide and set adrift in a river. He was in turn rescued and raised by Aki, a royal midwife. Furthermore, Moses is known as the lawgiver, the giver of the Ten Commandments, the Mosaic Law. However, the idea of a law being passed from God to a prophet up on a mountain is also very old and deep. Moses is just another lawgiver in a long line of lawgivers in mythological history. In India, Manu was the great lawgiver. In Crete, Minos ascended Mount Dicta, where Zeus gave him the sacred laws, while in Egypt there was Nemesis, who carried stone tablets and upon them the laws of God were written. Manu, Minos, Nemesis, Moses. And as far as the Ten Commandments, they are taken outright from spell 125 in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. What the Book of the Dead phrased, I have not stolen, became thou shalt not steal. I have not killed, became thou shalt not kill. I have not told lies, became thou shalt not bear false witness, and so forth. In fact, the Egyptian religion is likely the primary foundational basis for the Judeo-Christian theology. Baptism, afterlife, final judgment, virgin birth, death and resurrection, crucifixion, the Ark of the Covenant, circumcision, saviors, Holy Communion, Great Flood, Easter, Christmas, Passover, and many, many more are all attributes of Egyptian ideas long predating Christianity and Judaism. Justin Martyr, one of the first Christian historians and defenders, wrote, "When we say that he, Jesus Christ, our teacher, was produced without sexual union, was crucified and died and rose again and ascended into heaven, we propound nothing different from what you believe regarding those who you esteem sons of Jupiter." In a different writing, Justin Martyr said, "He was born of a virgin, accept this in common with what you believe of Perseus." It's obvious that Justin and other early Christians knew how similar Christianity was to the pagan religions. However, Justin had a solution. As far as he was concerned, the devil did it. The devil had the foresight to come before Christ and create his characteristics in the pagan world.
Fundamentalist Christianity, fascinating. These people actually believe the world is 12,000 years old. I actually asked one of these guys, okay, dinosaur fossils. He says, dinosaur fossils? God put those here to test our faith. I think God put you here to test my faith, dude.
The Bible is nothing more than an astrotheological literary hybrid, just like
Okay,
nearly
it's time
all
to
religious
catch
myths
the
before.
bus.
In fact, the aspect of transfer of one character's attribute to a new character can be found within the book itself. In the Old Testament, there is the story of Joseph. Joseph was a prototype for Jesus. Joseph was born of a miracle birth. Jesus was born of a miracle birth. Joseph was of 12 brothers. Jesus had 12 disciples.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it'd be easier to take an old school bus, paint it, bar the windows, and make it smell like blood bells in your brother's high school tube socket. Sure, we could do that, but it costs money, and this is costing us a bit. It's costing Wisconsin enough already. So you're getting the transport, and you're not second-guessing us again.
Any non-biblical historical evidence of any person living with the name of Jesus, the Son of Mary, who traveled about with 12 followers, healing people and the like? There are numerous historians who lived in and around the Mediterranean, either during or soon after the assumed life of Jesus. How many of these historians document this figure? Not one. However, to be fair, that doesn't mean defenders of the historical Jesus haven't claimed the contrary. 4 historians are typically referenced to justify Jesus' existence. Pliny the Younger, Suetonius, and Tacitus are the first 3. Each one of their entries consists of only a few sentences at best, and only refers to Christos or the Christ, which in fact is not a name but a title. It means the Anointed One. The 4th source is Josephus, and this source has been proven to be a forgery for hundreds of years. Sadly, it is still cited as true. You'd think that a guy who rose from the dead and ascended into heaven for all eyes to see and performed the wealth of miracles acclaimed to him would have made it in the historical record. It didn't, because once the evidence is raised, there are very high odds that the figure known as Jesus did not even exist.
So we need the bus intact. Cleanest way to do that would be neutralizing the driver, just so you know.
We don't want to be unkind, but we want to be practical. We don't want to cause hurt feelings, but we want to be academically correct in what we understand and know to be true. Christianity just is not based on truth. We find that Christianity is in fact nothing more than a Roman story, developed politically.
The reality is, Jesus was the solar deity of the Gnostic Christian sect, and like all other pagan gods, he was a mythical figure. It was the political establishment that sought to historize the Jesus figure
Okay, looks like things are heating up. You'll need to move from place attention before you get anywhere near us again.
Emperor Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea. It was during this meeting that the politically motivated Christian doctrines were established, and thus began a long history of religious bloodshed and spiritual fraud. And for over the next 1,000 years, the Vatican maintained a political stranglehold on all of Europe, leading to such glorious periods as the Dark Ages, along with enlightened events such as the Crusades and the Inquisition. Christianity, along with all other related theologies, is an historical fraud. These religions now serve to detach the species from the natural world, and likewise each other. They support blind submission to authority. They reduce human responsibility to the effect that God controls everything, and in turn awful crimes can be justified in the name of the divine pursuit. And, most critically, it empowers the political establishment who have been using the myth to manipulate and control societies. The religious myth is one of the most powerful devices ever created, and it serves as the psychological soil upon which other myths can flourish.
Myth is an idea that, while widely believed, is false. In a deeper sense, in a religious sense, a myth serves as an orienting, mobilizing story for a people. The focus is not on the story's relation to reality, but on its function. A story cannot function unless it is believed to be true in the community or the nation. It is not a matter of debate. If some people have the bad taste to raise the question of the truth of the sacred story, the teachers of the faith do not enter into debate with them. They ignore them as a non-starter blasphemy. It is blasphemous
simple for you to suggest, imply, or help other people come to the conclusion that the U.S. government thinks 3,000 of its own citizens.
Anybody who's ever watched a building being demolished on purpose knows that if you're going to do this, you have to get at the older infrastructure of a building and bring it down.
The way the structure is collapsing, this was the result of something that was planned. It's not accidental that the first tower just happened to collapse and then the second tower just happened to collapse in exactly the same way. How they accomplished this, you don't know.
The building collapsed to dust. You don't find a desk. You don't find a chair. You don't find a telephone, a computer. The biggest piece of a telephone they found was half of the keypad, and it was about this big.
What happened to the concrete was pulverized, river to river. There was dust, powder, 2-3 inches thick. The concrete was just pulverized.
In addition to those pictures we've all seen to Marshall television before, a building was deliberately destroyed by world-class dynamite to knock it down.
I heard a second explosion.
Heavy explosion. That was like some of those explosions and then the subsequent collapses. An explosion blew and knocked everybody over. To me, it sounded like an explosion. It sounded like gunfire. Bang, 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 bang. And then all of a sudden, big explosions. We heard a big explosion coming down.
And then the entire top of the building just blew up.
We saw some kind of explosion.
By the force of the explosion.
Big explosion. Blew us back into the floor.
It was big explosion.
A lot was up to go, a bomb had exploded down.
A huge explosion now raining debris.
Huge explosion that we all heard and felt. We just witnessed some kind of follow-up explosion. Very loud explosion.
That is another bomb going off. We think that there were actually devices that were planted in the building. Planted in the building.
Anybody could have predicted that they would try to use an airplane as a missile, a hijacked airplane as a missile.
Nobody in our government, at least, and I don't think the prior government could envision flying airplanes in the buildings.
No specific threat involving with a domestic operation or involving what happened with the city's airline.
There were no warning signs I'm aware of.
USA Today reports that in the 2 years before the attacks on September the 11th, NORAD conducted exercises using hijacked airliners as weapons. One target was the World Trade Center.
Yeah, I see you.
In confidential documents from the Philippines obtained by CNN, the plan was clear. He will board any American commercial aircraft, control its cockpit, and dive it at the CIA headquarters. Other buildings targeted the Pentagon and the World Trade Center.
The Federal Aviation Administration received 52 warnings about Al-Qaeda in 6 months before 9/11 and did not apparently heed them.
The Pentagon reportedly does not want the public to hear next week's Senate testimony
about the former secret intelligence unit known as Able Danger. And it identified Mohammed Atta and 3 other 9/11 terrorists as members of an Al-Qaeda cell in Brooklyn, New York, more than a year before the attacks.
2 to 3 cells which conducted 9/11 attacks.
Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer, who was the first member of Able Danger to go public, has now been told in writing by the Defense Intelligence Agency that he can't speak to members of Congress or their staff without prior approval.
Everyone thinks it's a breakout gone wrong. They're looking in the wrong place. Bring the transport to the junkyard outside Sandy Shores. One of my people look after it till we go in.
Security, counterterrorism was blinking red, in the words of George Tenet, that the warnings of an imminent attack were so severe that something dramatic could have been done. It was unparalleled. Instead, our president went on a month-long vacation.
With a cell phone, a carton of cigarettes, a pint of Pruno up his ass. Amazing what they can fit up there. The lifers, especially. You know those games you play where someone gets out a rocket launcher? People go, where's he keeping that? It's so unrealistic.
Requested Omar Sheikh to wire $100,000 to Mohammed Atta, who was the lead hijacker.
The hijacker Mohammed Atta received wire transfers via Pakistan. The man sending the money to Atta is believed to be Ahmed Omar Saeed Sheikh.
Omar Sheikh admitted he was supported by the Pakistan government's intelligence service, the ISI.
It's all about how dirty the government is. And it's all about how religion is a hoax.
It's hard to believe that 2 of the alleged terrorists involved in what happened on Tuesday may have attended schools run by the U.S. military.
Evidence was also apparently planted. The passport of one of the hijackers on Flight 11 was allegedly found in the rubble.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
The 9/11 hijackers are alive and well. That's according to the chief of Japan's Democratic Party, who says 9/11 is a hoax.
Several of these 19 men are still alive.
We're after Saddam Hussein. Bin Laden. He's
In the early 1980s, Bin Laden worked with operatives from U.S. intelligence, the Pakistani military, and Arab states.
January 2001, the Bush orders the FBI and intelligence agencies to back off investigations involving the Bin Laden family, including 2 of Osama bin Laden.
Hello, this is Pegasus Lifestyle Management. How can I help? Great. The aircraft is waiting for you at our nearest airfield. We trust you'll be happy, sir.
He reportedly spent 2 weeks in the American hospital in Dubai, was treated by an American doctor, and visited by the local CIA agent.
We have not seen one piece of evidence that links Osama bin Laden directly to the planning stages of September 11th.
This failure to provide proof was later said to be unnecessary because bin Laden, in a video allegedly found in Afghanistan, admitted responsibility for the attacks.
In 1976, Osama's older brother Salim bin Laden hired a man in Texas by the name of Jim Bath to handle all the investments in the United States for the bin Laden family. Jim Bath also happens to be a personal, almost lifelong friend of former Air National Guard pilot with George W. Bush. The connections between the Bushes and the bin Ladens become much more clear when George Herbert Walker Bush made trips to Saudi Arabia in 1998 and 2000 to meet with the bin Laden family on behalf of a company called the Carlyle Group.
anyone fly a 60-ton, 125-foot wide, 44-foot tall plane through this obstacle course.
The aircraft, before striking the Pentagon, reportedly executed a 270-degree downward spiral, and yet Hani Hanjour was known as a terrible pilot who could not safely fly even a small plane.
No seats, no luggage, no bodies. Nothing but bricks and limestone.
The official explanation is that the intense heat from the jet fuel vaporized the entire plane. Flight 77 had two Rolls-Royce engines made of steel and titanium alloy and weighed 6 tons each. It is scientifically impossible that 12 tons of steel and titanium was vaporized by jet fuel.
We're also told that the body of the plane would be a gunfire, either by the fingertips or the fingertips. So what kind of fire could vaporize aluminum and tube steel, and yet leave the human body intact?
From my close-up inspection, there's no evidence of the plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon. And as I said, the only pieces left that you can see are small enough that you can pick up in your hand.
Shortly after the strike, government agents picked up debris and carried it off. The entire lawn was covered with dirt and gravel, so that any remaining forensic evidence was literally covered up. The videos from security cameras, which would show what really hit the Pentagon, were immediately confiscated by agents of the FBI. The Department of Justice has to this day refused to release them. These videos would prove that the Pentagon really hit by 757, most of the trips that the government would release them. Pancake theory, according to which the fires, while not melting the steel, heated it up sufficiently to cause the floors weakened by the airplane strikes to break loose from the steel columns, and this started a chain reaction.
So you would expect then from that theory, which is the official theory, to see a whole stack of floors piled up on top of each other, and then a spindle of cork columns standing too.
The floor of each of the twin towers consisted of 47 massive steel columns. If the floors had broken loose from them, these columns would have still been sticking up into the air for thousands of feet.
The plane did not cut all those cork columns.
He designed the building to take the impact of the Boeing 707 hitting the building at any location.
The building probably could sustain multiple impacts of jetliners.
And the plane strangled the building. So you're saying that the building was actually designed to cope with upwards like that, and that still survived?
If you would drop, say, a building from the top of the World Trade Center, 110 floors up there, it would have taken 8 to 10 seconds to hit the ground, encountering no resistance whatsoever.
The Twin Towers came down at near free fall speed. 200,000 tons of steel shatters and explodes out to over 500 feet.
This means that floors shatter at an average rate of about 10 floors per second.
There is no scenario for a pancake effect of buildings falling that allows them to fall at the rate of 3 fall.
Well, what can do that? What can move that out of the way? Explosives. 47 huge steel cones going up to the floor. They're interconnected. How do you get them to fail simultaneously, so the core disappeared. It looks like those core columns are cut.
The way we do this is by cutting the beam at an angle.
I started looking at the molten metal. All three buildings, both towers, in the rubble, in the basement areas, and building 7, there's these pools of molten metal.
Get down below, see molten steel. Molten steel running down the chute. Like you're in a fountain. Like lava.
The molten steel was found 3, 4, and 5 weeks later when rubble was being removed. He said that molten steel was also found underneath the World Trade Center 7.
So I'm looking through the official report. What do they say about the molten metal? They say nothing. Wait, this is important evidence. Where did that come from? Thermite is so hard that it just cut through steel. Structural steel. The products are molten iron and aluminum oxide, which goes off primarily as a dust. You know those enormous dust clouds? You can imagine we were assembling these chemicals on a large scale.
So, Professor Niels Harris, you examined the rubble that came from the World Trade Center. What did you find in it?
And there we find remains of what we characterize as the thermitic continuum. And this is a very energetic material which can be used either for melting iron or can be designed as an explosive. The evidence for controlled demolition is overwhelming. I told you that the thermite reaction produced molten iron. Molten iron was in pools of molten iron in the rubble, and the point is that the thermite kept on reacting. This was the Beech's brew of thermite chemistry.
Molten metal pools under both towers have been collapsed, and building 7. Now building 7 was hit by a jam.
Part of the problem is that most people simply don't know much about Building 7 due to the extraordinary secrecy surrounding this collapse.
This was a 47-story skyscraper. This building fell at 5:25.
It was not hit by the plane. This building had fire upon only 2 or 3 floors.
And it was back down by what we know was a controlled demolition.
So it looked just like that. In the middle, and then that building just comes straight on, almost at free fall speed.
Our office was on the B1 level. As I was talking to a supervisor at 8:46, and all of a sudden we hear, boom! An explosion so hard that pushed us upwards. And it came from the basement between the B2 level and the B3 level. And when I went to verbalize, we hear, boom! The impact of the plane on the top.
It would appear to me as if there's more smoke coming from the ground.
I was down in the basement, came down, all of a sudden the elevator blew up.
And as we were coming out, we passed the lobby, there was no lobby.
So I believe the bomb hit the lobby first, and a couple of seconds in the first plane hit.
As I'm walking by the main freight corridor building in the corridor, that's when I got blown. I mean, the impact of the explosion threw me to the floor, and that's when everything started happening. All of a sudden, the big impact happened again, and all the ceiling tile was falling down, the light fixtures were falling. You know, you got to go clear across the whole from 1 to 2 World Trade Center, and then all of a sudden it happened all over again. Something else hit us to the floor. Right in the basement, you felt it. Walls were caving in. Everything that was going on. I mean, I know people that got killed in the basement. I know people that got broken legs in the basement. People got reconstructive surgery because the walls hit them in the face.
According to standard operating procedure, if an FAA flight control notices anything that suggests a possible hijack, the controller is to contact the superior. If the problem cannot be fixed within about a minute, the superior is to ask NORAD, the North American Aerospace Command, to send up or scramble jet fighters to find out what is going on. NORAD then issues a scramble order to the nearest Air Force base with fighters on alert. But although interceptions usually occur within 10 or so minutes, in this case, 80 or so minutes had elapsed before fighters were even airborne.
It's a mind-bending anomaly. Not a single U.S. Air Force interceptor turns a wheel until it's too late. There are no jets at all.
What if they were so confused and had been so deliberately confused that they couldn't respond?
The reason that they didn't know where to go was because a number of conflicting and overlapping war game exercises were taking place. It involved the insertion of false radar blips onto radar screens in the Northeast Air Defense Sector.
Center Team U, we have a problem here. We have a hijacked aircraft headed towards New York. Someone can scramble some F-16s. There's something up there to help us out.
I wonder what
Is this real world or exercise? Is this real world or exercise? There was another exercise, Vigilant Warrior, which was, in fact, according to a NORAD source, a live-fly hijack drill being conducted at the same time. With only 8 available fighter aircraft, and they have to be dispatched in pairs, they were dealing with as many as 22 possible hijacks on the day of 9/11, and they couldn't separate the war game exercise.
Have you had enough, or do you want more?
Page 172, the U.S. government has not been able to determine the origin of the money used for the 9/11 attacks. Ultimately, the question is of little practical significance.
The American authorities to trace the source of the funding, and then the most amazingly disingenuous statement, ultimately it is of little consequence. It is of massive consequence.
Doesn't it matter who paid for 9/11?
The collapse of Building 7 has been recognized as especially difficult to explain. The 9/11 Commission report implicitly admitted that it could not explain the collapse of this building by not even mentioning it.
President, why are you and the Vice President insisting on appearing together before the 9/11?
Because the 9/11 Commission wants to ask us questions. That's why we're meeting, and I look forward to meeting with them and answering their questions.
Why you're appearing together rather than separately, which was their request?
Because it's a good chance for both of us to answer questions that the 9/11 Commission is looking forward to asking us, and I'm looking forward to answering them. Let's see.
Do you think they should be able to stand up and speak their own words?
They should go under oath.
They should be, yeah, in public.
Hey.
Don't you think that the families deserve to have a transcript or to be able to see what you said?
You asked me that question yesterday. I got the same answer, yeah.
The final report was a unanimous report. That means that if there was a single commissioner who had any objection about anything, that fact would be dropped from the report.
We have found out that he not only served on the transition team of the Bush administration, that he was a person who wrote a draft memo for the setup of the Bush administration's National Security Council, that he was an individual who wrote the preemptive war strategy that was eventually used for the war in Iraq, that he is a close friend of Condoleezza Rice's. We want him to resign.
There is literally nothing in the 9/11 report that the Bush administration did not approve of.
We can understand, therefore, why the Commission, under Zelikow's leadership, would have ignored all the evidence that would point to the truth, that 9/11 was a false flag operation intended to authorize the doctrines and funds needed for a new level of imperial colonization.
Armed with knives, armed with chemical, biological, nuclear weapons. Fanatics, terrorists, September 11th. September 11th, killers, September 11th, terrorists. Terrorists, Al-Qaeda, terrorists, nuclear weapons, terrorists. 9/11, terror, evil. September 11th, September 11th. The terrorism, war, and danger. September 11th, terrorism, global terrorism, terrorism, terrorism. Terrorists, 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 the terror. Terrorists, terrorists, terrorism. September 11th, global terrorism, terror. Terrorism, September 11th, global terrorism. Terrorism, September 11th, global terrorism. Terror, weapons of mass destruction. September the 11th,
Terrorism. The words are hypnotically repeated. Terrorism, terrorist, terrorist threat, and of course, believed to be linked to Al-Qaeda. But it's the so-called war on terrorism that's in our faces practically 24/7 as the inescapable focus of our existence.
One day, our grandchildren will look back on this time and ask, how was the war on terror won? The entire U.S. ruling class, ruling elite, comes to see terrorism as the preferred means, indeed the only means, to provide social cohesion, to provide an enemy image for the society to keep it together. According to neocon theory from Carl Schmitt, you have to have an enemy image in order to have a society. A very dangerous thing, because now it means that the entire social order, the political parties, intellectual life, politics in general, all based on a monstrous myth. Monstrous myth.
This is what you want. Have your nice, soft woman that loves you as well as you love her, and y'all married, and just be you and her, nobody else. That's how it's supposed to be.
You have Pan Am 103. We have the USS Cole. We have
Talking about the false flags.
We have the World Trade Center in 1993.
False flag, we are the terrorists. I'm just playing this shit because I don't know about none of y'all, but I don't want to go to war with nobody, and I don't want to see nobody go to war. They got enough war going on with hunger and homeless. Shit, instead of us going to war over somebody else's bullshit, and the ones that got us going to war ain't gonna be nowhere near the shit. We gonna be the casualties of the bullshit. And I'm basically talking to you soldiers. Y'all thinking that y'all doing right by your country when you really doing right by some motherfuckers with some money. And this is some bullshit.
They're going to take people killed. Not enough of that legislation. So what happened is 2 years later, April 19, 1995, downtown Oklahoma City, Murrah building, 168 people killed. 1 year later, the anti-terrorism legislation that takes away two of our constitutional rights and civil liberties is passed.
And see, they saying that all these bombs and everything, these people in the United States getting paid to do this to the United States, and they some bullshit ass people. I ain't gonna lie, any one of them get caught, I ain't about the death penalty at all, because the death penalty, that's simple, fast, and it's done. No. You gotta do somebody that can kill millions of people, something like isolate him. I ain't talking about torture, peeling his fingernails off or making him bleed, anything like that. Give him some time alone to think about some shit.
Based on simultaneous bombs going off precisely at the railway stations that happened this morning.
So I stood over the hairs on the back of my legs, turning upright.
Let's quite straight. You were running an exercise to see how you would cope with this, and it happened while you were running the exercise.
Precisely.
Supposed to believe is some kind of coincidence, there was also an anti-terrorist drill going on 7/7.
Have you had enough? Or do you want more?
They were talking about attacks on the same target, the same kind of tube station, and exactly the same time as the actual
You want
attack
another
happened,
one?
providing some kind of cover
Don't wait
for
too
what
long.
must be operations orchestrated in some way by the state.
Do your thing by yourself.
Looking for a dance? No, sir. That's your service, of course.
I am absolutely appalled at how much people in this country do not think. We are given to understand that a guy out there up in the mountains financed the most elaborate attack on this country.
You think the people in a cave were able to have NORAD stand down? Do you think that people in a cave were able to have all of this happen?
And when I think about how many Americans were killed in New York City,
Don't make me
and
wait.
believing as I do that this thing was a setup job, this is a textbook operation that Nazis used, and they've used it over and over again. America has been suckered in one more time.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and nobody anywhere seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
People make this world go round. Just like that man said, I'm a human being, god damn it. My life matters. And I'm gonna definitely tell it to these sons of bitches in City Hall when I go see them bitches on Tuesday. Oh, because when I think about one doctor tell me one thing, and another doctor tell me another, and then I get the outcome of being the one in the middle, fuck that bullshit. I'm not gonna be nobody's guinea pig no motherfucking more. Yeah, I said motherfucking more, cause that's some bullshit. On the real though. That's some real motherfucking bullshit. So, I'm just saying, it is what it is when you look at it what it is. Let's do whatever y'all wanna do. Let's go. I'm a human being, god damn it. Oh, my bad. wasn't finished yet. See where he was. Human being, goddammit.
Well, I'm not going to leave you alone.
How much people in this country do not think. We are given to understand that a guy out there up in the mountains financed the most elaborate attack on this country.
You think some people in a cave? Do you think some people in a cave were able to have NORAD stand down? Do you think that people in a cave were able to have all of this happen?
And when I think about how many Americans were killed in New York City, and believing as I do that this thing was a setup job, this is a textbook operation that Nazis used, and they've used it over and over again. America has been suckered in one more time.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe. Our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
When hostilities commenced in Europe in 1939, it was realized that the American people had no intention of entering the war. But they believed that this country could be enticed into the war in very much the same way that it was enticed into the last one. They planned, first, to prepare the United States for foreign war under the guise of American defense. Second, to involve us in the war, step by step, without our realization. Third, to create a series of incidents which would force us into the actual conflict. These plans were, of course, to be covered and assisted by the full power of their propaganda. Our theaters soon became filled with plays portraying the glory of war. Newsreels lost all semblance of objectivity, and they have used the war to justify the restriction of congressional power and the assumption of dictatorial procedures on the part of the President and his appointees. A fear campaign was inaugurated. We cannot allow the natural passions and prejudices of other peoples to lead our country to destruction.
In 1775, the American Revolutionary War began as the American colonies sought to detach from England and its oppressive monarchy. Though many reasons are cited for the revolution, one in particular sticks out as a prime cause. That King George III of England outlawed the interest-free, independent currency the colonies were producing themselves, in turn forcing them to borrow money from the Central Bank of England, immediately creating economic hardship and despair. In the words of Peter Cooper, former vice president of the New York Board of Currency, after Franklin had explained to the British government as the real cause of prosperity, they immediately passed laws forbidding the payment of taxes in that money. This produced such great inconvenience and misery to the people that it was the principal cause of the revolution. In 1783, America won its independence from England. However, its battle against the central bank concept and the corrupt, power-hungry mentality associated with it had just begun. So what is a central bank? A central bank is an institution that issues and regulates the currency of an entire nation. Based on historical precedent, the typical powers inherent in central banking practice include the control of interest rates and the expansion and contraction of the money supply itself. Now, the central bank does not simply issue money to the government, it loans it to them with interest. Then, through the mechanisms of increasing and decreasing the supply of money, the central bank essentially regulates the value of the currency issued. It is critical to understand that the entire structure of this system can only produce one thing in the long run: debt. It doesn't take a lot of ingenuity to figure this scam out. For every single dollar produced by both the central bank and its regulated commercial banks is loaned at interest. That means every dollar produced is actually the dollar plus a certain percentage of debt based on that dollar. And since the banking system has the monopoly of the production of the currency, and they loan each dollar out with an immediate debt attached to it, where does the money to pay for the debt come from? It can only come from the banks again, which means the banking system has to perpetually increase its money supply to temporarily cover the outstanding debt created, which in turn, since that new money is loaned out at interest as well, creates even more debt. The end result of this system is essentially slavery, where it is technically impossible for the government and thus the public to ever come out of the self-generating debt. By the early 20th century, the U.S. had already implemented and removed a few central banking systems, which were maneuvered into place by ruthless banking interests. At this time, the dominant families in the banking and business world were the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Warburgs, the Rothschilds. And in the early 1900s, they sought to push, once again, legislation to create another central bank. However, they knew the government and public were very weary of such an institution, so they needed to create an incident to affect public opinion. So J.P. Morgan, publicly considered a financial luminary at the time, exploited his mass influence by reportedly creating rumors that prominent banks in New York were insolvent or bankrupt. Morgan knew this would trigger mass hysteria and a systemic crisis, and it did. The public, in fear of losing their deposits, immediately began mass withdrawals. Consequently, the banks were forced to call on their loans, causing the recipients to sell their property, and thus a spiral of bankruptcies, repossessions, and turnover emerged. Putting the pieces together years later, Congressman Charles Lindbergh wrote, "The King bankers put in motion in 1907 a great scheme. They had gambled and speculated on Wall Street until so many watered stocks and bonds had been manufactured. The King bankers knew the condition and informed the favorite of their friends what was to come. There was to be a panic in the fall of 1907, and it would be advertised as the result of our bad banking and currency laws." The Panic of 1907 led to a congressional investigation headed by Senator Nelson Aldrich, who had intimate ties to the financial powers and later became part of the Rockefeller family through marriage. The commission led by Aldrich recommended a central bank should be implemented so a panic like 1907 could never happen again.
This is what I call an educational movie.
To initiate their plan. And in 1910, a secret meeting was held at a J.P. Morgan estate on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. It was there that the central banking bill called the Federal Reserve Act was written. This legislation was written by bankers, not lawmakers. This meeting was so secretive, so concealed from government and public knowledge, that most of the figures who attended disguised their names when en route to the island. And after this bill was constructed, it was then handed over to their political frontman, Senator Nelson Aldrich, to push through Congress. And in 1913, with heavy political sponsorship by the bankers, Woodrow Wilson became president, having already agreed to sign the Federal Reserve Act in exchange for campaign support. And a few days before Christmas, when much of Congress was at home with their families, the Federal Reserve Act was voted in, and Wilson in turn made it law. The night before its passage, Congressman Charles Lindbergh tweeted, "This act establishes the most gigantic trust on earth. When the president signs this act, the invisible government by the money power will be legalized." Now, the public was told that the Federal Reserve System was an economic stabilizer, and inflation and economic crises were a thing of the past. Well, as history has shown, nothing is further from the truth. The fact is, the bankers now had a streamlined machine for economic manipulation. For example, from 1914 to 1919, the Fed substantially increased the money supply, resulting in extensive loans to small banks and the public. Then, in 1920, the Fed deliberately contracted credit in an extreme way, thus resulting in banks having to call in large numbers of loans, and, just like 1907, bank runs, bankruptcy, and systemic collapse occurred. Numerous competitive banks outside of the Federal Reserve System collapsed, further consolidating the monopoly of the money trust cartel. Privy to this scheme, Congressman Lindbergh pronounced, "Under the Federal Reserve Act, panics are scientifically created. The present panic is the first scientifically created one, worked out as we figure a mathematical equation." However, the Panic of 1920 was just a warm-up. From 1921 to 1929, the Fed again increased the money supply, resulting once again in extensive loans to the public and banks. There was also a fairly new type of loan in the stock market, the broker call loan. Very simply, this loan allowed an investor to put down only a fraction of the stock's value, with the rest being loaned from the broker. This method was very popular in the roaring 1920s, as everyone seemed to be making money in the market. However, there was a catch to this loan. It could be called in at any time and had to be paid within 24 hours, and the typical result was the selling of the stock purchased with that loan. So, a few months before October in 1929, J.D. Rockefeller, Bernard Baruch, and many other insiders quietly exited the market, knowing the bubble created was about to burst. Then, on October 24th, 1929, the financiers who furnished the call loans started calling them in mass. This sparked an instantaneous massive sell-off in the already inflated market, as sell orders and margin calls were systemically triggered. That then led to mass bank runs, eventually collapsing thousands of banks, enabling the large banks to buy up the now failed banks at a discount. But it didn't stop there. Rather than expanding the money supply in order to recover from this economic collapse, the Fed actually contracted it, fueling one of the largest depressions in American history. Outraged, Congressman Louis McFadden, then chairman of the House Banking Committee, filed a petition for impeachment against the Federal Reserve Board, stating, "Mr. Chairman, we have in this country one of the most corrupt institutions the world has ever known. I refer to the Federal Reserve Board and the Federal Reserve Banks. This evil institution has impoverished and ruined the people of the United States and has practically bankrupted our government. It has done this through the defects of the law under which it operates, through the maladministration of that law by the Federal Reserve Board, and through the corrupt practices of the moneyed vultures who control it." Now, having reduced the society to squalor, it was then decided that the gold standard should be removed. In order to do this, they needed to acquire the remaining gold in the system. So, under the pretense of helping to end
that you can fall off. They should make where you can fall off there. You should be able to never fall off.
For 10 years, everyone in America was required to turn in all gold bullion to the Treasury, essentially robbing the public of what little wealth they had left. And at the end of 1933, the gold standard was abolished. If you look at a dollar bill before 1933, it says it is redeemable in gold. If you look at the dollar bill today, it says it is legal tender, which means it is backed by absolutely nothing. The only thing that gives our money value is the public faith and how much of it is in circulation. Therefore, the power to regulate the money supply is also the power to regulate its value, which is also the power to manipulate and control entire economies.
Like they closed Walmarts. See, they closed the Walmarts. Starve people to death. Then you can make them do whatever you want them to do.
Corporation. It is about as Federal Express. It makes its own policies and is under little regulation by the U.S. government. It is a private bank that loans all the currency at interest to the government, completely consistent with the central banking model that the country sought to escape from when it declared independence in the American Revolutionary War. Now, going back to 1913, the Federal Reserve Act was not the only bill pushed through Congress for the vested financial interests. They also pushed its partner, the federal income tax. First of all, the federal income tax is completely unconstitutional, as it is a direct, unapportioned tax, and the required number of states needed in order to ratify the amendment to allow the income tax was never legally met, and this has even been cited in modern court cases. Second, at the present day, roughly 25% of the average worker's income is taken from them via this tax. That means you work 3 months out of the year to fulfill this tax obligation. And where does that money go? According to the Grace Commission report of the 1980s, 100% of what is collected is absorbed solely by interest on the federal debt and by federal government contributions to transfer payments. In other words, all individual income tax revenues are gone before 1 nickel is spent on the services which taxpayers expect from their government.
Wow.
Today, the money Americans make working 3 months out of the year goes almost entirely to the interest fees charged for the debt-based fiat currency. The fact is, the federal income tax exists to feed the Federal Reserve, federal government money machine, making sure the interest payments are always there. And third, even with the government claim as to the legality of the income tax, there is still evidently no statute, no law in existence that requires you to pay this tax.
I really expected that, of course, there's a law that you can point to in the law book, the code, that requires you to file a tax return. Of course there is. I was at that point where I couldn't find the statute that clearly made a person liable, at least not me and most people I know, and I had no choice in my mind except to resign.
Based on the research that I did throughout the year 2000, and that I'm still doing, I have not found that law. I've asked Congress, we've asked a lot of people in the IRS commissioners, helpers. They can't answer, because if they answer, the American people are going to know that this whole thing is a fraud.
I haven't filed an federal income tax return since I left.
I have not filed a tax return since 1999.
Now, the control of the economy and the manipulation of society for the vested financial powers is only a part of the game being played. Another level is the business of war. Since the inception of the Federal Reserve in 1913, a number of large and small wars have commenced. The three most pronounced might be World War I, World War II, and Vietnam. World War I. In 1914, European wars broke out centered around England and Germany. The American public wanted nothing to do with the war. In turn, President Woodrow Wilson publicly declared neutrality. However, under the surface, evidence now shows that the financial powers behind the administration were looking for any excuse it could to enter it. It is important to understand that one of the most lucrative things that can happen for the bankers is war, for it forces the country to borrow even more money.
So right there, soldiers, y'all should think to yourselves, you are nothing but disposable fucking human beings that don't even matter to those that's motherfucking having you war.
It always has been. It is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, surely the most vicious. It is the only one international in scope, and it is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives. Woodrow Wilson's talking.
It's all on your soldiers. All y'all soldiers gotta do is say, fuck the madness. I'm not killing nobody else. You ain't getting paid for it. You gonna wake up with nightmares and all that bullshit.
Edward Gray, the Foreign Secretary of England, regarding America and the war. Gray inquired, what will America do if Germans sink an ocean liner with American passengers on board? House responded, I believe that a flame of indignation would sweep the United States, and that by itself would be sufficient to carry us into war. So, on May 7th, 1915, a ship called the Lusitania was sent where German military vessels were known to be. And, as likely expected, German U-boats torpedoed the ship, exploding stored munitions, killing 1,200 people. To further understand the obvious anticipation of this setup, the German embassy actually put advertisements in the New York Times telling people that if they boarded the Lusitania, they did so at their own risk, as such a ship sailing from America to England through the war zone would be liable to destruction. In turn, and as anticipated, the sinking of the Lusitania caused a wave of anger among the American population, and America entered the war a short time after. Major General Smedley D. Butler summarizes the monetary reality of World War I.
All I'm doing is giving y'all something to think about, people. And this war bullshit, don't nobody win but the rich some bitches that ain't much in the war. They got you killing for them. Our soldiers gotta live there and start thinking for themselves, man. You can't allow your corporal to think for you and have you doing some shit that you wouldn't do. That's some bullshit. And you already know. Why are you killing innocent people that don't have nothing to do with nothing but just being people? Hurt me to my heart to think about the bullshit. People killing people. For what fucking reason? Somebody else's greed in this bullshit. We got enough technology and enough shit to go around for everybody to have some shit. Cause that's all it is at the end of the day. Some bullshit.
On December 7th, 1941, Japan attacked the American fleet at Pearl Harbor, triggering U.S. entry into that war. President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared the attack was a day that will live in infamy. A day of infamy indeed, but not because of the alleged surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. After 60 years of surfacing information, it is now clear that not only was the attack known well in advance, it was outright wanted and provoked. In a journal entry by Roosevelt's Secretary of War, Henry Stimson, dated November 25, 1941, he documented a conversation he had with Roosevelt. The question was how we should maneuver them into firing the first shot. And in congressional testimony later, he added, it was desirable to make sure the Japanese be the ones to do this so that there should remain no doubt as to who were the aggressors. In the months leading up to the attack on Pearl Harbor, Roosevelt had done almost everything in his power to anger the Japanese, showing a posture of aggression. He halted all of Japan's imports of American petroleum. He froze all Japanese assets in the United States. He made public loans to nationalist China and supplied military aid to the British, both enemies of Japan in the war, which, by the way, was in complete violation of international war rules. And with numerous Japanese codes broken in advance, revealing the plan to attack, on December 7, 1941, Japan was allowed to attack Pearl Harbor, killing 2,400 soldiers. Before Pearl Harbor, 83% of the American public wanted nothing to do with the war. After Pearl Harbor, 1 million men volunteered. It is important to note, Nazi Germany's war effort was largely supported by two organizations, one of which was called IG Farben. IG Farben produced 84% of Germany's explosives. One of the unspoken partners of IG Farben was J.D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil Company in America. In fact, the German Air Force did not operate but a special additive patented by Rockefeller's Standard Oil. The drastic bombing of London by Nazi Germany, for example, was made possible by a $20 million sale of fuel to IG Farben by the Rockefeller's Standard Oil Company. This is just one small point on the topic of how American business funded both sides of World War II. One other treasonous organization worth mentioning is the Union Banking Corporation of New York City.
Soldiers, do y'all hear that? They make money from you killing each other, man.
It was also a Nazi money laundering bank.
You ain't killing nobody to save nobody's life, man.
Nazi money in its vaults. The Union Banking Corporation of New York was eventually seized for violations of the Trading with the Enemy Act. Guess who the director and vice president of the Union Bank was? Prescott Bush, the father and grandfather of former U.S. Presidents George W. Bush and George H. W. Bush. Vietnam. The United States' official escalation and entry into the Vietnam War came after an alleged incident involving two U.S. destroyers being attacked by North Vietnamese PT boats in the Gulf of Tonkin. This is known as the Gulf of Tonkin Incident. This situation was the catalytic pretext for massive troop deployment and full-fledged warfare. One problem, however, the attack on the U.S. destroyers by Vietnamese PT boats never happened. Former Secretary of Defense
Come on, man. Cut that shit out.
That the Gulf of Tonkin
Shouldn't be to fall off
was
that
a
motherfucker.
mistake, while classified documents released years later show that it was a farce, manipulated for the purposes of war. And once in the war, it was business as usual. In October 1966, President Lyndon Johnson lifted trade restrictions on the Soviet bloc, knowing full well that the Soviets were providing upwards of 80% of North Vietnam's war support. Consequently, the Rockefeller interests financed factories in the Soviet Union, which the Soviets used to manufacture military equipment and send to North Vietnam. However, the funding of both sides in this conflict was only one side of the coin. In 1985, Vietnam's rules of engagement were declassified. This detailed what American troops were and were not allowed to do in the war. It included such absurdities as North Vietnamese anti-aircraft missile systems could not be bombed until they were known to be operational. No enemy could be pursued once they crossed the border of Laos or Cambodia. And most revealing of all, the most critical strategic targets were not allowed to be attacked unless initiated via high military officials. Apart from these illogical limitations, North Vietnam was informed of these restrictions and therefore could base entire strategies around the limitations of the American forces. This is why the war lived on for so long. And the bottom line is this: the Vietnam War was never meant to be won, just sustained. This war for profit and resources resulted in 58,000 American deaths and 3 million dead Vietnamese. So, where are we now? September 11th was the jumpstart for a hegemonic agenda, enabling the possibility of constant global warfare. It was a staged war pretext, no different than the sinking of the Lusitania, the provoking of Pearl Harbor, and the Gulf of
All
Tonkin.
motherfucking false
In
flags.
fact, if 9/11 wasn't a planned war pretext, it would be an exception to the rule. It has been used to launch two unprovoked illegal wars, one against Iraq and the other against Afghanistan. However, 9/11 was a pretext for another war as well. The war against you. The Patriot Act, Homeland Security, the Military Tribunals Act, and other legislations are all completely designed to destroy your civil liberties and protect those in power. Currently in the United States, unannounced to most Americans, your home can be searched without a warrant, without you being home. You can in turn be detained indefinitely with no charges revealed to you, no access to a lawyer, and legally tortured, all under the suspicion that you might be a terrorist. If you need to paint a picture of what is happening, let's recognize how history repeats itself. In February 1933, Hitler staged a false flag attack, burning down his own German parliament building, the Reichstag, blaming it on communist terrorists. Within the next few weeks, he passed the Enabling Act, which completely eradicated the German Constitution, destroying people's liberties. He then led a series of preemptive wars, all justified as necessary to maintaining homeland security.
Take too long.
Snoop Dogg posted, fuck that Watson Reed shit, bullshit, and, stirred up a whole lot of shit. And guess what?
It's a radical network of
I texted on that bullshit. I said, this is what the networks want you to do, is watch that bullshit, so that it can continue to keep motherfuckers divided.
Yep.
Keep us dumbed down, programmed.
Keep you fighting.
I said, the motherfucker is just a rerun where all they've done is just updated probably the violence, making more hyper.
That's all. That's all.
More evil looking than it was, because now with technology they can fuck shit up. They can make it look worse. I said, so it's just a 2016 rerun of some shit that's already been on, had an impact. How's it gonna re-impact a motherfucker? Slavery. Fuck, the continued legacy, it was fucking slavery. Who wants to watch another slave fucking movie? I don't want to see this shit. Fuck it. Some dude, it's history. That shit ain't no motherfucker. It's just a story a motherfucker told about his motherfucking family. That's that motherfucker's history. That ain't my motherfucking history. That shit was fucked up, but that was a man telling about his family roots. That's the name of the shit. His family roots. Not my shit. I don't know where I motherfucking came from. I might come on that motherfucker. Monkey might have been in this bitch. I don't know. Shit, all the lies in the fucking world. I'm gonna say we all hung up on that fucking movie again. 76, I was 2 years out of high school. So my thinking was different. But motherfucker was going on angry back then, man. Niggas gonna fuck up white folk. They were mad at the motherfucker. Because now you gotta understand, 1976, you just 110, 20 years from slavery. That's 76. That's 50 years ago, man. And now the motherfuckers reprived it. And niggas was coming, Snoop is da-da-da-da-da. And Snoop got his own motherfucking opinion. He don't watch the shit. He just posts. He don't want to watch the shit. And now I ain't always Snoop telling people to boycott it. Snoop, motherfuckers gonna watch what they want to fucking watch, Snoop. Just because you don't want to watch more bullshit, you don't want to watch it. But if you posted that shit, it was gonna get controversy. And motherfucker was posted on that shit. I said, God damn. I said, man, you got a motherfucking election coming up. And black folk, your needs ain't being met ever by any motherfucking political president. And you motherfuckers gonna sit and bitch about a movie. So niggas is dumbed down. We fall for bullshit, hook, line, and sinker. Throw some bullshit out. Watch the niggas just jump on it like rabbit dog. Fuck Snoop Dogg. Fuck Snoop. Man, you motherfuckers buy his music. You motherfuckers like his shit. But now you mad at him because he done made a statement that says, man, fuck Roots. And that's all Snoop is saying.
And fuck that Roots. Fuck that bullshit, man. It's already there. We divided.
Yeah.
To constantly show that there don't do nothing but make the divide even much stronger.
And then guess what? And then what we're so fucking divided is, to me, we're more divided amongst ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. The move ain't gonna do nothing but make niggas more hostile against niggas. That's it. Cause white people gonna be around them. The white people gonna stay around from around them. That's why they join out there.
And then you got a Civil War movie coming on, starring that white boy Matthew McConaughey. It was a story that's being told, but it's a white man leading some niggas and shit back in the That's why they call him that motherfucking Turner.
Thank you.
A real nigga that did some real shit that we know they hung his monkey ass, but motherfucker that story need to be fucking told. Or why not tell a story of what's that other motherfucker? Marcus motherfucking Garvey, who tried to actually get niggas to get back to Africa. He had a plan.
He had a plan.
You know, why not tell that motherfucking story? Why not see a story of a white motherfucker leading some niggas?
And you know what you're talking about? Yeah, you talking about that nigga got a new nation. They got a nigga a new nation now. They got a white boy with a new nation now, dude. Bro, they stuck on stupid, don't want to be straight. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's them.
Our enemy is a radical network of terrorists.
That's you, Bush.
Full-fledged warfare. One problem, however.
Chicago had called a truce,
by Vietnamese
you know, for Memorial Day weekend.
Former Secretary of
weekend was that?
Stated years
Apparently
later
somebody
that
get the
the
memo.
Tonkin incident was
36
a mistake.
shootings, 4 murders.
Classified documents released years later show that it was a
36 shots. He said one thing, he said some motherfuckers are some bad shots because he just wounded motherfuckers. He said if it was good shots, we'd probably be 30 dead, you know.
But they already said that. That's some motherfucker they paying to do that shit.
Knowing full well that the Soviets would provide upwards of 80% of North Vietnam's war supply.
4 dead.
Consequently, the
Chicago,
financed
but you know the murders,
the
you
Soviet
know the murders,
the
you know,
Soviets used to manufacture
where the murders,
military equipment
the murder
and send
capitals
to
of the
Vietnam.
world, you know the murder
However,
capitals of
the
the
funding
world.
of both sides in this conflict was only one
Rio
side.
de
of the
Janeiro,
coin.
Brazil,
In
where they have the
1985,
Olympics.
Vietnam's rules of
They said that
engagement could be
motherfucker.
classified.
They said in Brazil, they got 21 sit top 50
It included
for
such
murders across
absurd as
in
North Vietnamese anti-aircraft
Brazil,
missile
the country of
systems could not
Brazil,
be bombed until they were
21 cities in that motherfucker in the top 50 of murder capital cities in the world. 21 in Brazil.
Critical strategic
That's where they don't have no government.
Well, you know, well, it's I mean, you know, kidnapping, robbery.
Yeah, they don't have no government.
Of these restrictions and therefore could base entire
all the government, man, is
No, they don't have the type of government we have. What are you talking about?
Hey, man.
The bottom line is this. The Vietnam
You
War
got so much
was never
poverty
meant to be
and
won.
currency.
Right, that's what it is. They got a lot of poverty. But they ain't got no government.
It's
Mass poverty.
They got weak infrastructure.
Right.
They don't have shit.
You don't have shit. How can you not? They gonna do anything. Come on, man. Anybody that got something look like you want to me.
What's the number one motherfucking shit probably going on in that motherfucker?
Enabling the possibility of constant global warfare. It was a staged war pretext.
There's a
lot of killing. A lot of killing.
Provoking of Pearl Harbor and the Gulf of Tonkin War. In fact, if 9/11 wasn't a planned war pretext, it would be an exception to the rule. It has been used to launch 2 unprovoked illegal wars, one against Iraq and the other against Afghanistan. However, 9/11 was a pretext for another war as well, the war against you. The Patriot Act, Homeland Security, the Military Tribunals Act, and other legislations are all completely designed to
wealthy
destroy
motherfuckers are going to the Olympics.
Currently in the United
They're hiring their own
States,
security
unannounced
team
Americans,
to bring them there. They got more mercenaries that are going to be guarding that shit because they said the police force ain't enough in Rio de Janeiro to cover all the shit. So 5,000 people going to be there at the Olympics. So more of your private security forces. That doesn't mean mercs. More private security forces are enlisted. They said to the tune of about 10,000 private security forces will be on watch in that motherfucker during Liberty time because they said that motherfucker is self-reserved. I'll be surprised some shit happen that night.
Come on, dude.
I'll be surprised some shit happen. I mean, it's an election year, man.
Yep.
It's an election year, bro.
To maintaining homeland security. it's time to wake up. The people in power go out of their way to make sure you are perpetually misled and manipulated. The majority's perception of reality, especially in the political arena, is not their own. It is shrewdly imposed upon them without them even knowing it. For example, the public at large now believes the invasions of Iraq and the Middle East, along with the resulting instability, are the consequences of political and military mistakes. What the public fails to see, of course, is that the destabilization of the Middle East is exactly what the Western interests want. This war is to be sustained so the region can be divided up, domination of the oil maintained, continual profits reaped for defense contractors, and most obviously, permanent military bases established to be used as launching pads against other oil-bearing, non-conforming countries, such as Iran.
So that's just a whole bunch of rich people playing the army as their own little soldiers.
Purely intentional. In 2005, 2 elite British SAS officers were arrested by Iraqi police after being caught driving around in their car, shooting at civilians while dressed up as Arabs. After being arrested and taken to a jail in Basra, the British Army immediately demanded release of these men. When the Basra government refused, British tanks came in and physically broke out the men from the Basra prison.
If you wish to destroy an area, how do you do it? Well, there are 2 ways. You can go in there and bomb it and so forth, but that is not very efficient. What you do is you try to get the people in that area to kill each other and to destroy their own territory, their own farms, and that's what's been done in that area. The way in which you destroy an opponent is get him to destroy himself by dividing his ranks against one another. Then you feed both sides. You have agents feeding both sides, inflaming both sides, and they kill each other off. And it's time that some of us woke up to this reality, to understand that people who try to maintain empires and create empires do it by manipulating the people they're trying to conquer.
You might want to ask yourself why the entire culture is utterly
Come on, soldiers, y'all got to realize, man, this is the year 2000, dog. You can't be no puppets in this year and age. You can't live there and think of it's an honor to fight for your country and die for your country, and your country ain't fighting for you.
What your government pays for, it gets. When we understand that, then we look at government-financed institutions of education and see the kind of students and the kind of education that's
Hello, Pegasus Lifestyle Management. How can I help you? Your beautiful new aircraft is waiting at our nearest airfield. We hope you're very happy, sir.
Not in accord with what the state and the federal government wanted, then it would change it. The government is getting what they have ordered. They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment to keep the human mind entertained so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it.
We're in a lot of trouble because you people and 62 million other Americans are listening to me right now because less than 3% of you people read books. Because less than 15% of you read newspapers. Because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube is the gospel, the ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it ever falls into the hands of the wrong people. And when the largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be fed on the truth on this network. So you listen to me. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park.
Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the border-killing business. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
The last thing the power establishment wants is a conscious, informed public, capable of critical thinking. This is why a continually fraudulent zeitgeist is output via religion, the mass media, and the educational system. It is in their interest to keep you in a distracted, naive bubble, and they are doing a damn good job of it. This is Aaron Russo, a filmmaker and former politician. To his left is Nicholas Rockefeller of the Council on Foreign Relations. After maintaining a close friendship with Nicholas, Aaron eventually ended the relationship, appalled by what he had learned.
I got a call one day from an attorney woman I knew, and she said, would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers? I said, sure, I'd love to. And we became friends, and he began to divulge a lot of things to me. So he said to me one night, he said that there's going to be an event there, and out of that event, you're going to see, we're going to go into Afghanistan, so we run pipelines from the Caspian Sea, we're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East, and we're going to go into Venezuela and try and get rid of Chavez. And the first two they've accomplished, Chavez they didn't accomplish, and so you're going to see guys going into caves looking for people that they're never going to find. You know, he's laughing about the fact that you have this war on terror. There's no real enemy. He's talking about how by having this war on terror, you can never win it because it's an eternal war. And so you can always keep taking people's liberties away. And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He says, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, you know, it's just that you keep talking about things. You keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it. You know, you created the Star Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11, which is another lie. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie, and now they're going to do Iran. You know, and so one thing leading to another, leading to another, leading to another. I would say, what are you doing this for? What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. I said, you know, you're hurting people. It's not a good thing. And he would say, what do you care about the people for? Take care of yourself and you take care of your family. And then I said, so what are the ultimate goals here? He said, the ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the RFID chip and have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
So how far will the sickness of power go? To what lengths will those in control go in order to maintain and preserve their positions?
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their body.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
George Orwell, in his famed and possibly prophetic work, 1984, stated, "Power is not a means, it is an end. The object of persecution is persecution. The object of torture is torture. The object of power is power."
And the object of the
Today,
truth is the
symptoms of
truth.
surveillance society continue to grow as irrational fears of invisible enemies, coupled with rising economic instability, spread across the globe. It is under this guise of security that we can foreshadow a world where everyone is tracked, everyone is on camera, and everyone is subordinated. The most incredible aspect of all, such totalitarianism would likely not be forced upon the people, rather the people will be. For the social manipulation of society through the generation of fear and division has completely inhibited the culture. Religion, patriotism, race, wealth, class, and every other form of arbitrary separatist identification and thus conceit has served to create a controlled population, utterly malleable in the hands of the few. Divide and conquer is the motto, and as long as people continue to see themselves as separate from everything else, they lend themselves to be completely enslaved. However, if the people ever realize the truth of their relationship to nature, and the truth of their personal power to effect change, the entire manufactured zeitgeist that's preyed upon would collapse like a house of cards.
The whole system that we live
Woo!
in drills into that we're powerless,
Lucky bastard.
society is evil, and so on and so forth. It's all a big fast lie. We are powerful, beautiful, strong. There is no reason why you cannot understand who we truly are, where we are going. There is no reason why the average individual cannot fully how we are incredibly powerful.
You know, I think I spent 30 years of my life, in the first 30, trying to become something. I wanted to become good at things. I wanted to become good at tennis. I wanted to become good at school and debate. And everything I kind of viewed in that perspective. I'm not okay the way I am, but if I got good at it, realized that I had the game wrong. The game was to find out what I already thought, find out what I already was.
We've been trained for individual differences to stand out. So you look at each person, immediately it is brighter, dumber, older, younger, richer, poorer, and we make all these dimensional distinctions, put them in categories and treat them that way. And we get so that we only see others as separate from ourselves in the ways in which they're separate. And one of the dramatic characteristics of experience is being with another person and suddenly seeing the ways in which they are like you, not different from you, and experiencing the fact that which is essence in you and which is essence in me is indeed one. The understanding that there is no other. It is all one. And I wasn't born Richard Alpert, I was just born as a human being, and then I learned this whole business of who I am and whether I'm good or bad or achieving or not. All that's learned along the way.
Racial, sexual, and religious chauvinism to rabid nationalist fervor are beginning to work. A new consciousness is developing which sees the Earth as a single organism and recognizes that an organism at war with itself is doomed.
Organism at war with itself is doomed. I ain't had no war with my organism. We work together. Get the ones that don't belong out and keep the ones that do belong in and work together. You don't die until you give up on life, baby. And especially if you know what's right, baby. And stop believing in some bullshit.
Bill Hicks used to finish his shows with this. Life's like a ride. When you go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful your minds are. And the ride goes up and down and around and around, and has to the hill and the first part and heaven. Now it's a while, and it's been fun for a while. Some have been on the ride for a long time. They begin to question, is this real? This is the ride. And other people have remembered and they come back to us and say, hey, don't be afraid of it. Continue to provide. And we kill those people. Shut it up, I'm going to run after this right. Shut it up! Look at my photos and wood. Look at my big bank account, my family. This has to be real. Just a ride. They would have killed those good guys and tried to tell us that. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter. I think just a ride. I was intended. It's all in the choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. Just a choice between fear and love.
Choice between fear and love. Choice between fear and love. I'm just saying, good people. How the cyanide? What's happening with your kid?
Hey, cool day.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
You wanna do dude? You wanna do it right now?
I'm in something right now, dog.
What you in? Dumbass.
Surgeons against rocket missile launchers.
Alright, I'm gonna join it. It's boring as fuck. There's bad people online, these days.
I saw that you had put up on there one time. If you ain't over 80, you can't run with me. Stupid.
What you mean?
Remember, you put on there if you ain't 80, if you ain't 80 rank or higher, you can't run with you. That what you put on there.
Oh no, my friend if I put that on there because we was on 2K. I'm not gonna invite that nigga now.
But it was under your name.
Man, I don't know how they do that. How to do that anyway?
Oh, all right. You don't know. Okay, somebody else did it for you then. All right.
I kind of do like what to go to do that.
I don't know myself.
Cause I'm trying to say you want to do a heist. There you go, right there. Your friend, I'm online, fat man. Y'all nigga dirty too, just for laughing at me. I had broke dude. I broke your ankles too. Yeah. Yo. Don't even lie. Don't even lie. You first came. Boo boo. And that boy falling. I don't know if you're online by seeing that. Look at that friend.
Boy, lick my ass up.
I got some friends on 2. I got a lot of friends on 2K. I ain't got nobody on GTA though. That's the stuff right there. I need GTA friends.
And they be talk too much shit to the people on GTA. They don't be wanting to fuck with you.
You right.
Stop talking so much shit to them. They might want to fuck with you.
For real though, like the main people that you talk the most of, they were like, I run with and all it. On 2K, it's easy to get friends. On 2K.
You hear that boy talk?
Only thing you gotta do is what? Boom. It can be easy to get friends on GTA. I don't think I say I'm doing videos. We gonna do a video. I bet freaking nigga pop up and like, hey nigga, I bet this guy will be cool if I say you wanna do a video. I'm inviting everybody to get that cool. I probably have on GTA though. I don't know if do GTA. Man, GTA needs new updates.
I got you this fucking movie.
Loud. Almighty War.
Okay, I can reach that cup.
Look at all these people. Dang, y'all got it here deep.
Yo, Arthur.
Who wanna run with me?
What's up, man? I'm sorry, I couldn't join you.
Whoever got GTA, hop on it like right now.
I have GTA right now, but I'm not gonna play that shit because that shit's boring.
Hey, I got my body. Who said that? Who said that? I knew it was Dave, because you're the only one that sound like this. I will kick you out. We'll just click this one right here. We'll be out my party.
Yo, I just scored 150 points in my career Hall of Fame mode. I just beat the record.
150. I'm ready. Are you talking about? I'm ready more than 150.
I'm streaming right now. Everybody saw Edelman Hall of Fame.
Don't join the screen. Don't join the screen. That nigga still be lame. Nigga, you ain't screen. Man, nigga just up in the end, GTA. Going out. I don't know why I would do really. I wish I had like some of my brother friend, like them nigga right there. Only thing I say you wanna do a heist. Yeah. Corey, I don't feel like joining your party, man. Join me. Huh? Oh, I look like a whole soldier out here, like nobody can miss me. I bought me a cut that mother off. I still got $1 million.
Hey Zach, I gotta go.
Who is that? Hey. Alright. Hey, who's it? Nah, just leave because if I kick you out, that means you ain't gonna be able to join my party no more if I invite you. Or if you do 2008. Dude. Man, that just came down the street. Oh. Alright, look. I'm at y'all this not on GTA. I'm gonna make a new party when I get on. So when I get on 2K, I'm making a new party, dude. Dang. There's one. I play about beat. And I'm making a private GTA live. Man, I ain't got time for that. Trying to do me a hype. They don't want to do no hype. Niggas have fun though. I'm gonna try to get to Pacific Center. Let's take a picture of my car. On the most, like real talk. Don't run. Don't run. Alright. I told you not to take a picture of my car. What you gonna do about it? Yeah, you better run away. Hey, they got mice in this lobby. They doing dumb. I'm about to get on what you call it. Hey, y'all, tell me if y'all when y'all ready to do the heist. Like, just say, test me.
I got him.
Stupid dude, man. How you going this part with people that's stupid? 2008 dude. Hold on, I bet somebody about to join. I know somebody about to join. On that I say hi. Oh, there you go. Corey. No, don't we just stay here. Boy, I ain't gonna do it. But look, Corey. You got some money on GTA, yo. You wanna get some? Just join Corey, yeah. He gonna get this part. Everybody just join the line.
Hey, I'm gonna play too. I saw, what's his name?
Crisis. Who is Crisis? Oh, I know you talking about Crisis. Corey. Do you wanna do a heist? And you wanna do the glitch and get big money, man? Corey, just join my apartment, man. I know you probably ain't got no house because you're on level 30. I'll help you get some money in the house. Who playing with that mic like that, yo? Who mic is it? Alright. Nigga, stop. You need a new mic. A mic broke.
Tell him again.
Hey, still messing with it, nigga. Who is wrong? Oh my god. Who mic is it? Corey. That nigga must say this on well. Yeah, like, do you wanna do eyes? Who is it that said, is you talking to me? Man, I don't know if this Corey or this the other dude in the lobby. This is Corey, what? Corey, your mic lagging.
Yeah, bad.
Cool day. That nigga his mic lagging.
He hear you.
Perfect game, stupid. Had to put on some good clothes. Check out my shirt. I ain't got no good, I'm talking about like no good passes on this game. Oh, where's that guard or something? What?
That'll be about it.
Yeah, you better be ready to do the heist. Hold up, I got you, knock over. Oh, man, I gotta wait one more time. And I can get the MMG. Who is that? Oh, I got a fake fighter. Hey, why you not talking on the mic?
He just probably just chilling.
Hey, everybody just coming in and see me real good, nigga. Talk on your mic. If you got one. Frog. Frog house fingers. I swear, you don't talking fire.
Don't kick him out. He sent me a friend. He sent me a friend request.
He sent me one too.
God damn, I got 98 friend requests. I ain't much know that.
98, God damn. Don't have any money, but you can.
I think he just a plus.
I got my body. You got 2K? I'm not gonna hop on it, but I'm gonna see what you got. Nigga. Like, I'm just telling you, do you got it or do you not? Dude, I'm 10 though. Nigga, you 10 years old? So your mama can buy, like, nigga. I told you, nigga, I said, you got GTA. He said, no, I'm 10. Nigga,
Nah.
your mama can still buy him. I bet
Why?
you do this.
Why? Why would mom buy him a game like this? Your mom shouldn't have bought you this game.
I'm just saying, it's too funny.
I'm serious.
But it was funny how he just told me, like, nigga. Man, join my session, cool day. You need an invitation first. How to take out the glass and stuff just put on the, what's up? Nigga, get out my, oh my gosh, nigga just blowing me up. I'm about to kick him out the party now. Corey left. Yeah, don't leave. Nobody don't leave. I got somebody else. Big blue one, it's on, man. We get money and guns only. He's a whore. Shut up, nigga. You can't even get GTA. some money. Alright, nigga, don't shoot. Stop, nigga, stop. I'm trying to buy some clothes. Chill, chill out.
Somebody tell somebody chill out. You don't chill out.
No, like I'm buying clothes and they do just start shooting. Say if I did this to you, what you have been saying?
Look, like you don't do that.
I know I don't. Why nigga buying clothes? Why you want to shoot us?
Hold on, you ain't going in them stores and shot nobody while they were buying clothes?
No.
Okay, alright. If you're telling me the truth, I feel for you, okay. Cause I know they done shot me all the time when I go in there and try to buy clothes.
I'm like, on the first, like when I first got this game and they told you to buy clothes, so I got shot then I went to heaven. I got unlimited lives, nigga, I don't die. Hop in my car, yo. Hold on, I think you got crew. My crew trying to get in my car. Damn, man, what I got it on? That's alright. What you got it? I gotta go get my haircut, nigga. He can shoot at the barber shop, but first let me sit in the chair. But when I say I'm about to get up, nigga, you stop shooting. Oh my! I just want to punch the nigga in his face. Nigga! Oh.
Why you want to use box?
I just told him that I'm about to get my haircut. He trying to get his own haircut. Oh, nigga. Get that mask up out your face. Nigga, you look gay. This for the nigga that look gay. No, you not looking in the mirror. Look at this nigga. You look gay, nigga.
Oh, how you bet that girl do it? How you bet that do it?
I can make him do this too.
To make us feel good.
Alright. There you go again. Man, hurry up, dude. I gotta get my I know I'm gonna undie, nigga. Come on. Man, I go to another one. Just stay here, nigga. I'll leave you. Man, you wanna get out the chair. I just wanted you to do that anyways. I just wanted to get out my chair anyway. Nigga probably was done anyway. You don't know. I don't know, do I want to dye my hair white? There you go. Oh, that looks good.